Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. Now, I normally don't cover drama here on the channel, but this one is too good to pass up. It's between two heavyweights that you would not expect to be bickering, and it would be between Dave Ramsey and Steve Harvey. Yeah, that's right. They have completely different outlooks when it comes to finances, building wealth, and making a ton of money. And today we want to discuss it as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe, because trust me, guys, you don't want to miss out on this one. So give it a tap so that other people would be able to see this, because it greatly helps the YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much, and now let's begin.
This is crazy because this is on national television, Family Feud, long-running show. And as you know, there's different families. They feud against each other, hence the name Family Feud.
I haven't watched it since Richard Dawson was the host.
Wow. What was that, the 60s?
Jeez, Dave Ramsey is coming in swinging already, taking jabs at Steve Harvey. Yeah, I haven't seen that since, the prior host was on there. It's like saying, I haven't seen The Price is Right since Bob Barker. Bob Barker did a phenomenal job. I like Drew Carey, but Bob Barker was something else. But anyway, Dave Ramsey is already off to a, he's going to be a bit fiery today.
Well, one day, I would like to have no debt.
Yes.
That's not going to happen. Debt is okay. OPM, other people's money, is how you get rich.
Ooh. Dave inside is fuming. He is so upset at this because this is on national television. How many people just saw that and say, you know what? Steve Harvey's right. I'm going to go max out my credit card right now and take that Maui vacation because it's other people's money. I don't have to pay for it, and I'll get rich because I'll be able to max out my credit card and do whatever the hell I want, and it's not my money. But here's the thing though, Steve Harvey is really talking a very high level thing. I have a feeling this dude's debt, who's saying he wants to get debt-free, is not mortgage debt. That guy is probably not owning a dozen rental properties at a 3% mortgage rate held by Bank of America while he's leveraging that to get, the inflation's like 7%. This guy's most likely credit card debt, medical debt, student loan debt, consumer debt. There's a lot of things that most likely this guy, he's a young guy, probably not the good debt. And so him getting debt-free to me seems like a positive thing. But here's what Dave Ramsey has to say.
But you probably ought to just host the game show and not give out financial advice, for one thing. The second thing you shouldn't do is give out financial advice if you're $25 million in debt to the IRS. So if you're $25 million in debt to the IRS, when it comes to money advice, you should shut up.
Oh, he just did a blow there. Is that a knockout? Is that actually true? Steve Harvey, debt, IRS. Now, I have a feeling, okay, before even looking at stuff like this, Steve Harvey makes a ton of money. He should not be in debt $25 million to the IRS. Unless, number one, it's a dispute with the IRS, and so he's purposely just not paid it, and they say he owes money, and he claims, no, I don't owe the money, and it's being disputed. Or two, maybe his accountant did something that he was unaware of, and it came up with this, and he's trying to work it out. But he makes too much money, I think, to be in debt $25 million to the IRS. He should be able to just write a check. Okay, so here's what the internet says. It wasn't until his accountant passed away that someone discovered a box of Harvey's paperwork with checks worth 7 years of unpaid taxes. It was then that he realized that he owed the IRS $22 million. Over the next 7 years, Harvey paid the IRS $650,000 a month. Wow, so this is actually a lot deeper than I expected, okay? So I think I'm going to be on side Steve here, okay? I think the Dave Ramsey blow was below the belt, okay? Here is what happened. Apparently, he entrusted his accountant to go and cash these checks and pay the IRS. Instead, what the accountant did is he cashed the checks by pulling the money out of Steve's account to pay himself. So he was basically just saying, oh yeah, it's paid, don't worry about it. Meanwhile, the accountant's cashing the checks, living it up, not paying the IRS whatsoever, and all of those amounts are unpaid. And so Steve discovered this when the accountant passed away and says, wait a second, all the money that I paid didn't go to the IRS. It went to this schmuck here who was stealing it all. That's awful. Oh man, low blow Dave. I'm on Team Steve here. So let me know what you guys think on this down below in the comments section, and we'll see what else Dave has to say. But I'm Team Steve.
This idea that this guy's debt is a bad thing to pay off because it's other people's money and therefore it's good debt. And this is how you build wealth.
It just occurred to me. Steve Harvey is using other people's money.
There it is. Your money.
And yours. We're taxpayers. He hasn't paid his tax bill.
No, he's not. See, I think Dave in this case, I love Dave. I think he read a headline somewhere that says,
Steve Harvey in debt to the IRS, $22 million.
and just ran with it without looking into the details. You always got to look into the details of these things, because headlines are one thing, but half the time I see a headline and I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Wonder why that would be the case. And then I look into it and I realize, like, wait a second, the headline's completely wrong. That's not the case whatsoever. You have to do your own research. You have to think independently. And sometimes you see claims, and I'll read about the claims, and I'll say, you know what, I disagree. This is not that big of a deal, or it's different than how they portray. You just don't believe what people tell you online, especially online. Half the stuff, probably not half, 90% of the stuff you see online is probably just BS. And you have to be very critical about everything in life. Be critical about it. Come to your own conclusion on something like this. So, again, Team Steve. That's how passionate I am about this. Team Steve.
Hey, listen, Steve, we would have left you alone, brother, but you know what happened? You stepped on a young man's dream, and you walked over into our garden when you did it, and so a pruning is in order. So that's what you're experiencing, young man.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Again, I agree with Steve with certain context. Like the Steve context of using other people's money should be with a little asterisk that says no consumer debt, no carrying a credit card balance, no student loan debt, no medical debt, nothing like this. If you're using other people's money, you have to leverage very smartly. You have to be very safe about it. You have to have a decent amount of equity. You have to really know what you're doing. And you have to have a plan for this. The only debt that I see usually as being a good one is if you could borrow money at a cheaper rate than you could invest it long term. And if the long-term rates of return on the stock market might be like 7% on average, you have to make sure you're borrowing below 5%. And even then, it still comes with some risk. Ideally, what you're doing is you're borrowing at like 3 to 5%, which doesn't really exist anymore, to buy rental properties or, you know, some fixed asset like that you could rent out and make a 10% return. The debt becomes a tax write-off, or you're growing a business and you could leverage your money there because the business makes 15%, but you're paying out 5% in interest, and that's a tax deduction. It's tricky now, but you know what? Back a few years ago, it worked out well for people who did it smart.
You use other people's money, not yours. That's how you get rich.
I love the lady in the background looking around going, is he serious right now? Did he really just say that?
What?
Oh, man.
They expect me to run out with like a rubber club or something and start hitting him out of the side. Oh, my gosh.
The thing is that Steve Harvey is he's on a bit of a different level here in terms of, you know, most people out there are not doing the other people's money like Steve Harvey is. So he's talking to, like, you know, Harvard graduate types. Well, meanwhile, you know, for the average person, probably getting out of debt is a good thing. Beyond that, though, for really building wealth, usually you leverage other people's money.
He made the show. 22 million listeners. So we just upped his ratings.
Good,
Does he still do that show?
I think so.
Is that show still on?
Yeah.
Dave, is that show still on? Is that guy still doing this? You know what's funny? I have a lot of people who say that to me also with YouTube videos. You still making those YouTube videos? Oh yeah, okay. It's like, yeah, I'm still doing YouTube videos. But now, there is another video that I do want to go over on a different note, okay? It's also with Dave Ramsey while we're on the topic of, you know, controversial opinions. This guy's wife wants to quit her job, and 168,000 people have a lot to say about this. So let's listen to it.
So last night, my wife turned to me before bed and told me that she didn't feel satisfied at work anymore. She works as a social worker while she's waiting to save up to go into her master's so she can become a clinical psychologist. She's had plenty of jobs, but they've never lasted longer than about 6 months before she couldn't take the job anymore. We're in the middle of paying off the student loans from her psychology degree, and we just found out that my wife is pregnant like a month ago.
Congratulations.
It's all kind of hitting me all. Thank you. It's all kind of hitting me all at once.
Jeez, so the psychologist can't handle her own work, can't keep a job for more than 6 months without leaving or quitting. It sounds like she's the problem. You know, one job, okay. 2 jobs, okay, it's borderline. It's possible, but the chances of that are pretty slim. 3 jobs, you gotta look at yourself. And going into that much debt for a degree that she's leaving and such high turnover, I think maybe she needs the psychologist. She needs the help. She should not be giving the help.
But
What do you make?
$4,200 a month.
What does she make?
$23 a month.
How much student
she
loan
puts
debt is
for 57. That's what it was last month.
57,000?
Yes.
Ooh.
Why doesn't anyone do the math and just say, is this degree worth it? Am I going to get an ROI on this degree? If going $60,000 in debt is going to make me $30,000 a year, where I can make more money working as a server at a restaurant, maybe that's not a good degree to get. If I don't have the money to spend on that degree, I can't afford it, and it's a bad investment. Just like if I said to you, hey guys, give me $100,000 and I'll give you back a 1% return on your money. No one would do it because it'll take you 100 years to get your investment back because that's a bad investment. Well, guess what? Her college degree is also a bad investment, but nobody looks at it like that. They don't treat it like an investment. They just say, oh, education is good. You can't put a price on education. Yes, you can put a price on education. It's not 60 grand, I'll tell you that. Maybe 50 bucks, max. You can learn it yourself on YouTube. Just don't do that.
I think she just can't handle it. And she brought up that she wanted the job so she could help people. And she doesn't feel like she's helping people. She feels like people are getting angry at her for trying to help.
Again, it sounds like she's the problem here. It's work. Work isn't always meant to be fulfilling. It can be, but at the end of it, you're working. It's a job. What is she expecting? She's not Mother Teresa here. She's going into a job. She's trading her time for money. She needs a paycheck. She's got bills. She's in debt because of this. Just gotta suck it up.
How old is she?
23.
Oh, that's why. He's 23 years old. So I'd say this comes from probably, not having that life experience, not being put through the ringer enough, not having much to compare it to, maybe having a lot to fall back on, having the options to be able to leave work and, have the safety net that she's never going to be in trouble. Because if she's on her own, okay, and she's got to put food on the table, she's got to pay the bills. She'll find a way to make that work. She'll find a way to love that job. She'll find a way to be so excited about that job because she knows that's the only way to pay the bills and keep going. But when she has options to fall back on, why would she try?
She has never once sucked it up. She has never once stiffened her backbone and walked through a tough time. Every time the wind blows, she goes out the door. That's who you've described to us for the past few minutes. She has a baby on the way and $57,000 in debt. This is when you suck it up.
I'd be worried what this means for the future of their relationship, especially having a child with her. Does this mean that she's gonna, oh, I can't do that. I can't do this. Is she gonna have these same patterns throughout the rest of her life? More than just work. I would venture to say that the likelihood of that is high.
Long term, I want her to be in something she loves and where she's helping people and where she's not having to deal with toxic coworkers. I don't blame her for that. Long term, I want her to be there. But short term, we got to be a grown-up.
Yeah, you know what? She needs definitely therapy, and she's got to work on it. But she doesn't have the luxury of not working. So she's got to get back to work, suck it up, deal with it, and hopefully she'll be a better person as a result. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And as a thank you for making it to the end of the video, you could get some free stocks that are worth all the way up to a few $1,000s with a paid affiliate link down below in the description. When you make a deposit, those stocks could be worth quite a bit. So enjoy. They're totally free. Just make a deposit. Again, paid affiliate link down below in the description. Let me know which stocks you get. Thank you so much. And until next time.